another good question. It was getting high before she left.
Oh, I tried out. That was great.
Just very, like, you don't know.
Mom would like to hear that.
They just said they answer very
They always complain about
And the
voting.
after score is what they get for the game. It's going to
So I'll
show us
show you
how
how
weird it is. Big and just
Anybody on Zoom, can you hear me? Or can you officially
I hear
thumb
you.
up me?
I hear you and see you.
Chuck, you got your mic on?
I do. Can you hear me?
Can you say, let's see, well, it's trying to make sure that we have audio here.
I am unmuted. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine, Chuck.
Okay, I hear you, Theo.
You can hear me.
Yep.
Wait
I
just a
can hear
second.
you, Tom.
But they can insure for yeah, they eat everything. Well, next time I think they're really like. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's playing through mine.
I think we're almost ready.
We're just all sorts of fun and chaos right now.
My wife wanted one for Christmas last Christmas. I got it for her. She hadn't got it out. So what did it say? We got one.
So
Tell you when you stack.
well, it didn't like that.
Okay.
It didn't like that. Definitely didn't like that.
Let's see. I retired. It's something that our owner was we have cardiology.
And Chuck, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you on my laptop. I'm trying to get you into audio on my on our thing. So I appreciate you chatting with me for a second.
No,
As I
no problem. Hey, Theo, what's the image behind you? Painting or
That is a
poster?
painting. It's who did this one? It's a Joe. Let me get his name right here. Tucciarone. I know he's done a lot of space art. The Pegasus Nebula, which it definitely would be.
Pretty cool looking.
makes sense.
I don't have a a machine that can actually do, my laptop's too old to do virtual backgrounds, so.
I just do live backgrounds. That's it.
Yep.
You can see my albums up here.
There you are.
Found an artist in Paris, Tennessee, that does paintings on albums. He does all these space paintings.
Oh, wow.
So I may be our own customer, but I bought about 10 of them, I think.
When somebody donated a large daub once upon a time, it was an old cave daub to the club. It was filthy dirty. It had been in a garage with birds for a while, so I took it apart. And it wasn't moving really well in azimuth. When I took it off, it had a record, like greatest hits of the 70s was what it was spinning on.
That's cool. Just wanted a turntable, right?
I mean, it worked, sort of.
You want me to jitter to call?
Yeah, I mean, hang on a second. I'm just gonna reboot. Hey Theo
And
and Chuck,
Tom,
I'll be back.
make sure that the audio output is going to the Sony TV there if you want the room to hear it.
So where did hang on a second. That's the out.
And by that I mean your YouTube should say, or your Zoom should say that, and your default audio on your laptop also.
Yeah, so for the audio,
That's just the genius of the book. You can do most of it, about half of it. I could do that. Binoculars are good thing. I do sit down
so
Here's one problem. It's not working.
well, that was supposed to be into here, right? So
You're
so this plug was connecting from here to here, and so we just bypassed that because this didn't seem to let us through. Yeah. So this should be the audio to the display. And it's almost like those speakers aren't on. Like, I don't know if there's a button specifically for that speaker.
See if there's a Wiimote.
I want to see if she'll. Let's see. All right, Chuck, can you say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah, got it.
Sound like
Yay.
a success there.
You know, you just keep hitting buttons, and hopefully things will come through. Let's see.
All right.
All right, hang on a second. Yeah, I'm a professor. It's how it works. All right, hang on. All right, so our speaker is on his way. In theory, he should show up shortly. I'm gonna close this out so when he gets in, I can share the screen. Well, everybody, thank you for showing up today as we wait for our speaker to log in. Thanks for sitting with us as we figure out what's going on here. Technologies is both, a curse and a blessing. It is always entertaining. Today we're going to be doing our September monthly meeting. Let's see. Oh, there's a blip. The link doesn't work. Just a second. That's never good. Anybody get a good chance to see the eclipse last night? The sort of partial. I threw some pictures in. I lucked out. The cloud line just skirted right underneath the moon, so I was managed to catch everything. Yeah,
I saw good views of it, but couldn't get a good picture of it.
yeah.
Chuck, you have that godlike sound to your voice.
Did you hear that, Chuck?
Godlike.
Something ethereal.
I don't think I have a meeting on. Looking at participants. Oh, there he is. Dr. Jeff. All right, Jeff, I see you're in. Can you hear me all right? All right. Chuck, can you see my screen? Or Theo?
I do.
Perfect. All right. Waiting for Jeff to get up and going. Making sure people can share. Sharing is caring.
You're not on the big screen yet, though.
Yeah, when he puts his up, let's see. I need to get that. Let's do this. Oh, well, that's not cool. Okay. Jeff says, hold one sec. All right, Chuck, you're front and center on the big screen. Wave to everybody.
Hello. I just see you.
Yeah, I apologize. Here, say hi, everybody. Oh, all right.
Oh, my God. All right.
I hear somebody say hi, Chuck.
Hey, Helen.
Hi, Ellen. You got me up there on the screen?
Yep. It's you're the guest speaker today. You didn't get the memo?
Well, I'm showing, if you can see my albums up on my wall, they're all painted space pictures. Found an artist in Paris, Tennessee that she just paints astronauts and planets on albums. I'll get you up close here. Let's see. There you go.
What albums were they?
Just a variety of ones. You know, your $2 albums.
Chipmunks.
I asked her. You see, I had the Man on the Moon album in the middle. I asked her if she could actually paint onto that one, and she said no, she'd prefer not to because she starts them and then doesn't like it and throws it away and starts another one and then starts another one. Didn't want to risk a particular album.
Well, I think maybe he's having some technical difficulties. So we'll go ahead and pull Chuck back over until I see him come in. I'll go ahead and start my presentation and then, oh, he's connecting back. Wait for it. All right, so I'm going to share screen to Jeff, I see you're in. Are you on? Maybe. Says you're connecting to audio. It's exhilarating. All right, Jeff. While you're working on your hopefully you can hear me while you're working on your connections, I'll go ahead and start my show up. Oh, there you are. I see you. Can't hear you yet. Got your mic? Shows you're muted. I see you trying to talk. Oh, you just went there.
There we go. All right. Now you can hear me.
Now we can hear. All right.
All right. Well, thank you
just a
for
second.
your patience. It was we at NASA don't actually use Zoom. So thank you for your patience. So
All right.
would you
So
like
do you
to?
know how to share your screen, Jeff?
Okay, how do you do that? So hold on here, let me open that up. Share screen.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Chat. Oh, here is share.
Yep. Should be a big green button on the bottom ish,
Yeah.
depending on how you're set up.
Let's see. Screen. Yes.
So chuck back over. That's where
And
it's show
share.
up.
All right, we got it.
Yeah. We
All
see.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Jeff Gray. We'll let him do his introductions. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Looking forward to your talk today.
All right. Well, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Jeff Gray. My actual degree is in laser technology. I run the Laser Resource Center at JPL. Before that, I worked at APL in Houston. I design all the lasers that keep all of the telescopes aligned. So that's how I got into astronomy, is that I just like would hang out with these guys all night long. And so then I decided I was going to get a degree in cosmology. So what we're going to talk about tonight is what I wrote my thesis on. It's one of the first classes, one of the first talks in my cosmology class, and it's called Distance Too Great. In order to contact another species, especially extraterrestrial ones, there's a lot of combinations of things, physical, technical, conceptual challenges that we're going to talk about. The first one is going to be the vastness of space, right? Our closest star is Alpha Centauri, which is 4.37 light years away. That's not really that far as when we're talking about light, but when we talk about our physical limits of, first of all, our lifespans, that's a pretty one that can we our bodies take the rigors of traveling through space, right? We're talking about sending a spacecraft that right now Voyager's traveling 38,000 plus miles an hour. And that's going to take 70,000 years to get to Alpha Centauri. As our technology advances, what are the things that we can do to get us there? I mean, there's so many different theories. We've talked with Stephen Hawking, we've talked with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and many other physicists and astronomers. What can we do to preserve our bodies to be able to get there? Will we be able to ever travel the speed of light? I don't think so, because as we're traveling at the speed of light, we're degrading at a molecular level. So unless we can make some type of bubble around us and be able to warp time and space, kind of like Star Trek, then the limits are going to be not really something that we could really be able to concept. With our current propulsion system, where it's just too slow to be able to get there. Warp drives, wormholes, and all that good stuff. But one of the things that we have to talk about is, in Distance Too Great, is another civilization out there. We have been sending out radio waves for less than 300 years. So unless they're way, 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 way more advanced than us, right, then we would never going to receive their signal. Let's say their civilization started in 100 years ago, if they're even in the numbers. we can take Drake's equation and put that into the numbers. Another key factor we have to talk about is signal degradation. As our radio waves go further and further out, they're degrading. I mean, it's just a fact. There's background radiation. There's other radio waves that's going to interfere with all that. So by the time it got to Alpha Centauri, which is only 4.7 light years away, it could be so degraded they couldn't understand what we're saying, but also vice versa. So the things that they're talking, they could be sending us information, but it's so degraded that we can't understand it. We look at how many possible planets are out there, right? I mean, the Milky Way has roughly 100 trillion stars. So just using simple math, we could narrow that down to 21 trillion Earth-like planets. Now, Earth-like planets. We have Earth-like planets that were in our own solar system at one time. We have Venus. We have Mars. They at one time had water on them. They were very Earth-like and 70, 80, maybe 100 million years ago. So we know that they're going to be Earth-like planets. We have Europa, which has a 250-mile thick ice crust, but underneath that ice crust is liquid water. And we can see that with the satellites that are constantly taking pictures of the water geysers coming out of the crust. So could there be alien life there? Yes. If we can have shrimp and other organisms that live at the bottom of the ocean at 7,000 psi and living off of nothing but organic sulfates and methane, then why can't we have that on another planet in our own solar system? So that makes it even more likely that of those 21 trillion Earth-like planets, that's a really good chance that there are aliens out there. There are different civilizations, but they may be using different communications than us. They may be not carbon based. They may be methane based. So the talking to them could be a very, very, very difficult thing. We know that there's planets out there that are emitting gases that show that there's civilizations. And I mean, we've got evidence of it. I mean, we got the Webb, we got the Hubble, we got the Kepler. These telescopes are looking for these things. I mean, SETI, they're looking for a radio wave. They're looking for some type of communication. I don't really believe we're ever going to see that in maybe 100 lifetimes. I just think that the distance, the communications surrounding all this is going to be completely different. I mean, think of their chemical makeup, their electromagnetic waves, the signals that they're sending, we may not even recognize. They may be coming in loud and clear, but we can't hear them. I mean, very much like a Star Trek episode, oh, Captain, there's alien life on here, but they're not, like humans. So I mean, I think that more or less that the life of human beings is it's just too small to actually be traveling and communicating with other civilizations at this time. Another thing is huge overlaps. As we develop, there may be civilizations that have already been around for thousands and thousands of years. And due to supernova, comet, meteorites, you know, or even self-inflicted disasters, these civilizations may have existed and then disappeared. So when we do get some signal, is that signal from a alien race that doesn't even exist anymore? Because remember, even though it's traveling at the speed of light, they may be 500 million light years away. So even at the speed of light, 500 million light years, you know, we may dismiss each other when Voyager finds another civilization. By the time they get back to us, we might not even be around. We might be off on into a different solar system by then. Another one of the things that we talk about is maybe there are alien civilizations, but they just don't want to talk to us. They're hiding from us, possibly. Why? Because they don't want to, just like Stephen Hawking's, you know, we really don't want to meet a civilization coming from solar system to solar system. They're looking for one thing, and that is resources. And just like a bad sci-fi movie, I don't believe they're going to come in and do like a terraforming event, but more of coming through, taking what they want, and saying bye-bye. You know, they're not going to be sharing any type of technology with us, because then they're going to use, they had the fear of that they could use that technology against them. So they could be deliberately hiding from us. And that I really believe more so. We had the Ula meteor come sailing through our solar system. It came out of nowhere. We did not see that thing coming until it was already going by us. I mean, we had no time to launch anything, move anything to be able to track this. So could that have been an alien species coming through our solar system going, no, we'll come back in 100 million years. We came by 65 million years ago, there were dinosaurs. So where do we go in space? I think that looking for alien life is should not be like a high priority. I think our higher priorities should be building a solar system with our DNA, with our people, and our generations, and build a civilization. I think that's the only way that we in our lifetimes will ever get to meet a Martian or terraform Venus, and we have Venetians. So I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said it the best, is that we are so far from other civilizations, and by the time that we are able to meet those civilizations, will we be equals? And that's the thing that NASA, we worry about the most, is that when we do meet these aliens, I mean, the technology differences between us could cause a lot of limitations. They may not understand what we're asking about, and that could be disastrous. So, any questions?
Well, thank you for your talk. You mentioned, terraforming Mars and Venus and things like that. In your expertise and thought processes, how far away do you think that is? We've had people talk to us about, potentially sending people to Mars and,
Well,
what.
it's here's the thing, and this is something that working in my department, I get to see all the newest and latest technologies that come out. Right now, we have a 3D printer that we can actually just take rocks, crush that up, and use that material, superheat that material, and turn it into bricks or turn it into pylons or into walls. Starting with the moon is got to be the first place we got to go to, and because it's got resources, there's no gravity at all. I mean, very minimal. So being able to 3D build something on the moon will then be able to give us the technology and the building materials to go to Mars and already have shelters already built that we can bring down to the surface. And because we know Mars has got water, I mean, extracting it from its iron-based minerals is going to be tough. That's why the moon is a good starting place, because the water and the ice that we know on the moon is very similar to the ice and water that we have on Earth. So having water and those materials, we can then start building our own microprocessors in space. We start building, 3D print all the things that we need, and then we can go to Mars. From Mars, we're going to go right to Europa. Europa is going to be the best bet for humankind to have a more, I would say, a not living on Europa, but having space stations around Europa, because that's what we're already planning with the moon. We're gonna have a space station around the moon, and that way we're able to 3D print materials and make processors, and we don't have to, the cost of getting them off of Earth to space is a very, very expensive little, expenditure. For every pound, it costs roughly about $100,000. So being able to do it from the moon, we have very light gravity. We can take it right up to launch ships and off to Mars. But I think Europa would be a much better colonization for us, and it's cheaper. You already got water.
How long? I know that there's a lot of stuff going on with, pushing to the moon right now. How long until we actually start putting, a station around there, or starting to get a little bit more habitation in your idea?
Well, timetables from NASA on the Columbus project, they're saying 29, 30, 31, 32 era. It's again, the biggest problem is infrastructure. Is it just costs so much money to get it off Earth. So that's why we're developing these 3D printers, these space items that are able to make semiconductors and memory chips, and because all the material is on the moon. Everything you need to make microprocessors, it's got iron, it's very similar to Earth. So moon rocks and stuff we've brought back, we know contain iron. So that's one of the rudimentary, things you need: iron, aluminum, magnesium. And these are all minerals that are very, very easy to mine on the moon. Again, no gravity. So it makes it much easier. It's easier on equipment. The only problem is oxygen. That's, the biggie.
Hey, we got a question, Jeff.
Go ahead.
The machines to build microcontrollers are extremely advanced and they weigh a whole bunch. How are we going to get those up to the moon?
Well, that's how we're going to start with 3D printers. We're going to build that stuff bit by bit. And, again, with no gravity, it's not that, you know what I'm saying? It's much easier to work without gravity than with gravity. So these heavy machines that we can build won't be that heavy.
Well,
the biggest
not
problem,
that heavy, but they're extremely complex.
well,
Extremely complex.
okay, I'm 65. When I was a kid, if you would have told me that I could have a Dick Tracy watch and talk to my wife, I would have told you you were absolutely crazy. Right?
Yes.
So as you have to understand, I'm not talking our lifetimes. All right. I'm talking maybe our kids' lifetimes, their kids' lifetimes. The technology is getting smaller and faster and available once we figure out how to create nanobots that can build and replicate this stuff without, of course, breaking the Isaac Asimov rule of robotics of I won't kill all the humans once I realize that they're the problem and not me. So, nanobots building these things, and they're on the moon, and they're no oxygen, they don't need any water, they need solar power, and they can build us whatever we need. I mean, but that's again not in our lifetimes, but that's where we have to go. Some people talk about the singularity, where we will take our consciousness and stick it in a robot that will live forever. There's a lot of things. There is using gravitational tow to create wormholes. You move a black hole a little closer to this one, and through with gravitational tow, and you could create a wormhole. But again, here's the question: where does that go? You're bending space and time, and you're going to be able to slip through that crack. But where you end up may not be someplace you want to be. One of the theories that one of my professors and I always used to talk about is the Big Bang. Okay. How did we get here? I believe that because of gravity, we have different dimensions. So there's so much gravity between the first and second dimension and second and third dimension that eventually there's a break in that gravity wall, and bang, all that first and second dimension material comes rushing in to an empty vessel, the third dimension. Boom, Big Bang. Some people believe in graphene sheets, that the early universe was giant waves and they came crashing upon each other, like in Lake Michigan, where you get a super wave. But when they crashed together, that created the Big Bang. So how we got here may be the key of doing interdimensional space travel.
Star Trek makes it look so easy.
Oh yes, yes, yes. But let me tell you something. And I have a friend that works over in CERN, and we've had this discussion many, many times. And there is just the of traveling between subspace and space would be so ludicrous, because the amount of molecular degradation of going so fast. I mean, even whatever you had to, you know what I'm saying, a shield, you couldn't replace it fast enough, and you'd get torn to shreds. Just like trying to go into a black hole. Why? We know what it is. It's a ball about the size of Earth that's so dense that anything that gets near it is going to get sucked in and get ripped apart molecularly. So, um, but that's what they talk about, is that's where these wormholes, when we have two black holes that have bumped together, and you see the cosmic shock. We've got this, photographed with the Webb, the actual gravitational waves from when they do have this interaction, and we can see the effect in our universe, in our solar system, when that does happen, because a lot of people think that the sound, the Big Bang that we're picking up, that the resonant sounds from it, that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is that a lot of the noise that we're getting natural from space are from collisions of planets, collisions of black holes, quasars. You know, I mean, yes, there's no sound in space, but there's still generated waves. So that's where I'm thinking more of. I think that the initial Big Bang, it is our galaxy is like a giant bubble. Our universe is even a bigger bubble. And it's expanding. And there's going to be a point when we run out of matter and it's all going to suck back into one giant black hole.
Well, that's pleasant.
Well, but the thing is, we're talking 100 trillion years from now.
Yeah.
I mean, how many lifetimes, unless you become an android,
Or upload your singularity.
there you go. You're uploaded to the singularity. You become a Borg,
Yes. Why not? Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, Frank.
When we're talking about extraterrestrial life, I'm fascinated with, I can't remember which of Arthur C. Clarke's books, but it was dealing with the 2001 to 2060 series. And the astronauts were told, all the worlds are yours, but attempt no landing on Europa. And I guess he realized that there was a possibility of life. So with that as a background, and I don't know how correct I am in remembering that.
You hit the nail right on the head.
Okay. What precautions are we considering to make sure that our germs and viruses that might be carried on a probe don't
Now, that is actually something I can really chime in on, because due to the fact that I make laser stuff, it goes to space. I built the laser targeting for the DART program. That was a big mistake. 30 years from now, if we're still all around, we'll get to see that man-made meteor shower. Big mistake. So, but it was a good idea. But I really believe that Arthur C. Clarke, he saw the same thing, that Europa is the place that we need to go to. But bringing our germs and bacteria that's why we can't actually be on the planet. We have to be around the planet. And then we can, use that to get water. We don't have to go down there. We can capture that water coming out of the glacier volcanoes. So we don't even have to go down there to contaminate it. But I mean, we take the stuff I make, I work in a clean room. It is then put into a autoclave. It is then sealed in plastic and off to assembly someplace else in JPL. So I mean, I've seen how they work in the clean rooms, the larger where they build the satellites. They take such precautions not, to have any. I mean, everybody's double gloved. Everybody's wearing suits with a oxygen breather in the back, because it is a big concern. Because what happens if we go to another world and it's inhabited and our probe killed 70 million people? Do you think they're going to be happy? No. You wiped out 2/3 of our population with that probe. Well, guess what? Right? So we actually do a very good job. I mean, I mean, the stuff I make. So sometimes I do get a laugh because some of the stuff I do, they use for testing, and they take it out to March Air Force Base and they put it on the sled. And the sled is basically a rocket powered device that you get to put stuff on and slam it into a wall and see what happens. and they bring this stuff back and they go, oh, we need this rebuilt. Here are the blueprints. Can you make 2 of them next time? And then one of them is sent to is cleaned, autoclaved, and off it goes. So, I mean, we do worry about that. That is a very good concern, because, like I said, it would be a terrible thing to send a probe and then it annihilates, half of the civilization. They wouldn't be very happy, right?
So,
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a question? I got one more to plug in with. So I'm a biology professor, and one of the things I teach my non-major students is that Jurassic Park said it best, where life will find a way. We know that bacteria are all the way up 80,000 feet, and they can survive up there. We found traces coming, like I think they found just recently bacteria that originated in China. They tested it and found it in Japan, right? Just flying through the air. So are there any worries like of actually picking up residuals on whatever spacecraft we send up there and carrying?
Well, that's another one. As you know, we took a sample from ULA, or not ULA, from the DART program, sent it back to us. And when we brought that back, I mean, I've only seen pieces of it behind 2-inch thick glass that is like vacuum sealed. So the measures that we take are very, very tight too, because again, that would be even worse. Oh, NASA brought back a rock from this meteor, from this comet, and it turns that it annihilated everybody, and we're all gonna die. So it's just like me. One of my jobs is with the lasers that we monitor meteors and meteoroids and comets that come into our solar system using laser technology, to be able to track them and et cetera, et cetera. So I look for comets, I look for meteoroids, and I work with a company called Dwarf Labs. They make a smart telescope that has a very wide angle, 25 to 25 millimeter. It's got a huge arc second expanse and great for doing what I do because I can set up 5 of them, and in a night sky out in the desert, I can take a ton of more data than I could ever at Mount Wilson. I have a 30-inch telescope there, and the field of view versus 5 dwarfs is huge, and the data that we can collect from that is just amazing. So, but I don't want to be the guy that discovers the meteoroid that's going to destroy Earth. I don't want to be that guy. Oh, the great meteoroid is going to slam into the moon and ricochet into Earth, and we're all going to die. So thank you, Dr. Gray.
We'll just call it Jeff.
Yeah, I've always, my wife, we've had this discussion out in the desert many times. And of course, I go out with grad students and we talk about, things like that, and that is a big worry. That is NASA's biggest worry. That is that something's going to come in off axis because all of our telescopes are all trained through the galactic axis. So looking up and down, something coming in off axis, we wouldn't know about it until it was way too late.
Is that where you have the dwarfs pointed?
Well, I can't talk about that, but no, seriously. But no, we go out. I take my interns and we take star parties with the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts, and Boys and Girls Club, at-risk children, general people. And we take them out there. We set up the telescopes, and they get to, be an astronomer for the night. So, it helps me, so that way I don't have to man 5 telescopes.
Smart. That's how you use undergrads.
Oh, yes. As my wife has told me many, many times, she said, if you didn't have undergrads to grade them papers, you'd be in a lot of trouble, huh?
I feel that one internally. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Jeff before we send him on his way? Well, good deal. Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Well,
really
thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Again, anybody would like to have any other conversations, you can get a hold of me on Facebook. We have NASA has a Astronomers Outreach Network. You guys are already part of Night Sky Network. So that's a program that I run to help smaller astronomy clubs, schools, and etc. Build astronomy programs. So anybody if you have a school or anything that's in your area, we can help them build their astronomy class. We have loaner telescopes and stuff like that. So I got like 75 dwarfs. So
well, cool. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys for having me. And again, keep looking up.
Yeah, and avoid those comments. All right. Have a good night, Jeff.
You too.
All right. Well, good deal. All right. So with that, let's see if I can now share my screen. Find my Zoom. Oh, it's back over here, isn't it? Back to Chuck. Yeah, back to Chuck. Sorry, Chuck.
Back to me.
Where'd you go? You disappeared.
Hey,
Yes.
everybody.
All right. Yeah, now I see you. You're not on the screen anymore. All right, just a second. All right. All right, if I'm right, Chuck, you should be able to see my my screen.
I see your moons.
Pretty much. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started up. Thank you everybody for dealing with the little bit of time delay that we had. try to get through some stuff. If you guys have any questions or anything like that as we go through, please definitely pipe up. Once again, welcome to. Oh, let's see if that's going to work. Welcome to the monthly member meeting for BSAS. I'm Tom Beckerman. How's that over there? I don't know why that is. Get back over here. There we go. I'm Tom Beckerman, current president of BSAS. And so today we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, we had a big thing yesterday. The news had it all over the place, the super moon, right? In all reality, they're about 7% larger. So, there's a little bit of truth to it. You're not gonna be able to see it with your naked eye. But I found this on the NASA's website, kind of talking about what to tell people whenever they say, hey, did you see the super moon? Like, how big is it going to be? And you're like, well, 7%. And, so that's actually about what you'll see in a good image.
I will smack you for that comparison, though, because there's no such thing as an average full moon.
That's
14.
True.
There's 14 months of the cycle from one supermoon to the next. It varies continuously along the cycle. I actually undertook to photograph the whole cycle, and I've got it all on a bunch of little moons strung out. Yeah.
So you got mooned.
I got moons.
Look, I didn't make the graphic. I just stole it from somebody else.
NASA drives me insane with this stuff, but I get it. It's clicks. I get it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. My clicker isn't working.
Statistician, there's always an average.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
What's your sample size?
Yeah, 2, right? All right. So hopefully everybody had a chance to check out the minutes from the previous newsletter that got sent out. Does anybody have any questions about the goings on from last meeting as well as our most recent board meeting? Excellent. Let's see. Keith, members?
We're at 217.
217. Nice. I think that's up a little bit from last time. I logged in today, just FYI for people that are, because I get questions about it. I logged in today. Night Sky Network changed. So when you get in, you're going to have to change your password. But in there, it opens you up to a new splash page, and it tells you where your membership status is. And like you can see it front and center when the last time you paid and when you're due. Why does this stick out to me? Because last time I paid was February 2023. So I need to catch up on my dues, because I went, oh, I thought I paid for that. So if you're wondering, where the dues are, or when your membership is up, we don't boot you right away. But maybe when Keith checks on it once a year, you'll get an email. But that information's there for you if you want it. Night Sky Network, there were some conundrums with the whole everybody needing to reset the password thing, but it sounds like it's kind of settled down. So just be aware of that if you log into Night Sky Network, that's going to come up.
One thing.
How did that come about?
What's that?
Why or how did that come about?
The Night Sky Network, they just had to put in
The thing changing.
that's what they just had to update all their policies and updated their page. Yeah. And so had to deal with a whole bunch of security and things. And so they just revamped the site. Yeah.
So I had a member ask about the links to magazine subscriptions for members, and with the redo of the Night Sky Network, those links aren't there right now.
Oh, okay.
It just says coming soon. So if you're looking for them, I guess they'll be there sometime.
Speaking of which, I got a guy who we just listened to who runs that ship. So if you're looking for a link to the astronomy magazine or Sky and Telescope, let me know and I can bug him about it. And we'll get that taken care of. Theo, you got a treasurer's report for us?
Yeah, we still have a little bit of money. So our total bank balance right now is $8,022.22. Really, the only thing we've spent in the last month is the Zoom account and paying you for buying stuff. I think
yeah.
we have $715.58 in the PayPal, which is 5 new members and 1 renewal since the last member meeting. And I think maybe we finally there for a bit. We were having an issue with the website not forwarding the payments when they were made in PayPal. It was sending it to treasurer dot like it's supposed to, but that wasn't getting forwarded to me and Keith. So we were having to manually check on that. I think maybe it's gotten fixed. So we'll cross our fingers. And I did go in with Drew and we fixed it so that Drew doesn't have to pay for the website anymore, that will get billed to BSAS. So that's kind of nice. That's just like we switched it over from Keith paying for the Zoom. Now the club does that. So now we've got the website the same way. So that should work pretty well. Our social media, Facebook, we're at 2.3K likes and follows 2.5K. And Twitter, we're at, X is 336. And I haven't done a lot this last month just because we went to the beach on vacation and Roy came down with COVID. So that was fun. So,
It's going around.
It really is. And so on my vacation, I also got the updated COVID shot. Finally let him, we finally let him out of the box here this week. So that's good too. But
well, cool. Well, thank you for that, Theo. All right, moving on. So any new members here today or visitors or guests? Well, awesome. Well, then most of you know that we have a loaner equipment program where if you're wanting to borrow a scope, try it out before you buy it, see what you can lug around comfortably, see what you'll use. We have a variety of telescopes that are available for members to check out. If you have one, let us know how it's going. If you have questions, send us a message. One of us will hopefully know enough about it to get you on your way so that you can kind of start looking at the night sky with some of these. So if there's anything we can help with, let us know. We have a variety of star parties that we host, and we'd love to see you and the scopes out there to kind of share what we do with the public. So if you're interested in a scope, I'm actually our equipment guy now. So you can either message me or equipment@bsasnashville.com. If you're looking at our webpage, this, I believe, was from last night when I put this together. We have a few things on here. We have information when the next public star parties are, member meetings. We also are still selling our beautiful hatch print piece. And so that's $20 if you buy it in person from Theo, $25 if you would like her to ship it to you, which is still a pretty good deal. And they're pretty awesome hatch prints with that, again, the special stamp down here that they made especially for us. So it's pretty cool. One of the other things on here, actually, there's two things to point out. On the bottom is that clear sky chart. So the darker it is, the better. And so you can kind of get an idea if you want to go out or you're thinking about going out in the next couple of days, you can look at that and get an idea of whether it's worth it to go out, because clouds, right? They can wreck everything. The other thing up here is over here on the left, there's a thing that says discussion forum, and that'll take you directly to our Google Groups.
Says what?
Discussion forum. And or discussion board, that'll take you to our Google group where you can chat with other members and interact with them about different things. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But we also have our links here for our socials. So if you're ever interested in checking out what we're doing behind the scenes, definitely jump into that. Facebook, as Theo said, we're getting a pretty good amount of followers, and so posting a lot of really cool things. NASA had this Observe the Moon night that happened 4 days officially ago. Last night was the full moon surrounding it, but they had a lot of programming set up about cool things on the moon. And here was one of the posts that was shared a couple days ago, where these were interactive sites where you could click on it and find out the different types of things that were going on in those places. I believe they have landing sites here, like here's Apollo 14 and all sorts of things like that. And I'm pretty sure that that's still going to be up for a while. So if you wanted to play with that, you can get to that link from our Facebook page. On X, one of my students said that they were tweeting something. Is that still vernacular because like it's not Twitter anymore. So are they X's now? I'm sending out an X. I don't know how the whole system works, but we scour the interwebs for cool things. We've heard about the Lunar X and the Lunar V over the last couple months. Theo's posted pictures. I know I've thrown a couple up there. Here, a person took a picture of the Lunar A, something I'd never heard of, and apparently, with the right light and settings, you could snag that. So it's another little thing on the to-do list that you could potentially check off. So where there's an interest, people seem to find the way. Instagram, if you have an image that you would like to share out in the public, maybe get some exposure for your picture, you're just like, people got to see this, send us a message or post it on the Google groups and we can share it to the Instagram world, give you credit for it and send people your way. It's a good way to share imagery. I need to get better at that. I say that every time, but time seems to get lost. But if you're a photographer or do your astrophotography, this is a great platform to share what you really enjoy. As I mentioned before, Google Groups, this is our discussion forum. Here we post all sorts of things. People asking, hey, we going out tonight? Hey, there's a pop-up star party. So-and-so would like volunteers for, a Boy Scout troop to put up telescopes or something like that. Or, hey, check out this eclipse picture and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that we use this for. I always like to point out up here, these links will always show up here. Excuse me. We have access for our private star parties out to the Natchez Trace. We have to have a special permit for that. And what that does is it allows us to be out there from dusk to dawn. And so we don't get rousted by the state troopers or the sheriff for being out there on their land. And so if you do plan on going out to the Natchez Trace for one of the private star parties, make sure you have a copy of this. It doesn't have to be paper. You can just download it and say you're with BSAS, and that should do fine. Also up here is an equipment list. And so that's where you can find the equipment that's available for checking out. Okay, so that's available. A few things that were posted just recently. Let's see. Here we had a star party at Bowie, I believe it was. Dan, was it Bowie? Yep, Bowie
Yes.
on the 7th. And Steve put together an image here, pretty amazing, of M16, the Eagle Nebula. And then to really appreciate it, there's the pillars of creation in there. So well done, Steve. Beautiful picture there. And then also, one step up from there, we had a pop-up private star party that was planned for, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And clouds, as it does. But that got rescheduled for the 19th, which is tomorrow. Yeah, so if you're interested in this, contact Steve Hughes. He's here, but you can probably get in touch with him on the Google groups. There's a post here, so if you reply to that, I'm sure he'll let you know where our super secret new Franklin location is at. So from what I heard, it works out pretty well. Okay, so that's coming up tomorrow. So if you're interested. And then finally, Theo posted here. We had a lunar eclipse last night. It looks like Theo got clouded as well, but you can see it adds some mystique and mystery to the beautiful image, right? You can see the little chunk taken out right about where we had the maximum eclipse taken. I actually managed to get some imaging. As I mentioned, this was my luck. I managed to just skirt the clouds, and so this was my view. Saturn over there. I managed to get a cool picture, and I did a nice time lapse that I made because the video is huge. And so I got stuck chasing through trees. Then you can kind of see the cloud rolling in, and then I go, stupid trees, and I move it. There we go. And so now you can see the cloud or the shadow kind of roll off.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see those kind of things, just putting that together. So it would have been great if the trees weren't in the way. But the next one's in like 2025, so I got time to practice. This is actually taken with Dr. Jeff mentioned a dwarf. This is actually taken with my dwarf. So that's actually how I met Dr. Jeff through the dwarf program.
Hey, Tom.
We already talked.
Tom?
Yep.
If you can go back to the Google groups, the fourth item on the list is my
Yep, I got that. Yeah, I got that coming up.
Okay, great.
Yep. I'll get you too. I promise. I saw that earlier, and I got you set up. All right. So, that's what happens when you put so many animations in. Happens to me in classes too. All right. So as I mentioned, the Night Sky Network is how we run our membership through. You can get on this now. I don't even know if this page exists anymore. This is an old screenshot. I probably should take a new screenshot because it definitely isn't this splash screen when you log in now. But this is the Night Sky Network's old homepage where we run everything through. I like to point out that the Night Sky Network isn't just for us running our membership through, but they have a lot of information in here. This is where I probably stole that image from that Theo had a conundrum with. Here's an article that they had, how to turn the supermoon hype into lunar learning. And so, if you're wondering about, well, should I go out to one of these star parties? Is there anything to talk about? And like, hey, you know that thing called the supermoon? Well, let me just tell you about the supermoon. Like, you can get a whole bunch of information here and people are going to think you're the smartest person on the planet. And so this article is out there. They also have a host of things that are just really good for information. They give separate outreach resources here. They have night sky planners that they put up. So we can look here. They give us star charts and stuff. So you can kind of get an idea. If you haven't ever used a star chart, they're pretty handy to figure out what's up in the sky. It'll give you an idea for planning. And so these are free on that Night Sky Network page. And so it's a really great source for all this material. One of their main articles this time around was what's things coming up in October. And so Andromeda is starting to get a little bit higher in the sky right now. And so, this is, again, one of those cool things that you can show people in a telescope, right? Whenever you're at the star parties, it's not too hard to find. If you find Cassiopeia, it kind of points at it between this big star and here, just go a little bit up. And so that's how I track it down, M31. I've already started going after it. This is an image I got from my dwarf. I hadn't processed it as just a raw image, but I noticed M31 and friends. Here's one M110 and M32. So it's already coming around, and you don't need anything fancy. This, I know it looks like a whole bunch of stars, but this is with my iPhone from my back porch pointed at Nashville. And so Cassiopeia is over here, and here is our little guy with the cell phone. And like, it's not going to get me an A-pod, but you can definitely tell that it's a little bit, there's some nebulosity in there. So technology, right? An iPhone. So cool things. All right. In terms of things that happened over the last month, Steve he helped run an event at the Inventor Science Center. He did some solar viewing. How'd that go, Steve?
That was great. And the solar scope was a huge hit.
Yeah.
We had it sit right there by the front door to catch people coming in and coming out. And, virtually no one's ever seen, solar flares and things like that. So it's really huge hit, even with that small little PSD.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And then August 31st, we had a private star party scheduled. Did anybody make it out to that? Yeah, I didn't think I saw anything on the Google groups about that. And then September 7th, we had the public star party, and we saw the image of that. Sounds like we had a pretty good turnout. And then September 14th was that kind of observe the moon night. Like I said, we were sharing things on our socials about cool things to see on the moon and things happening with the moon. I went out and officially observed as best as I could. And on the website, they allow you to make a certificate. And so here I am, proud to present the certificate of participation. So I got myself a participation certificate and print it out, show it to my daughter, and she's going to think I'm awesome. But I think last time we talked, I was kind of talking about how NASA was really pushing some of these activities that you can do. They had a spot the difference game where they had two images and you were looking for new impact craters that can kind of help with, pointing scientists to the right direction, because there's a lot of moon, and for one scientist to go piece by piece by piece, it's going to take a while. And so they kind of do a citizen science attack on that. These projects are still around. I mentioned this observing challenge where the goal was to view the moon between the 14th and I think it's the 27th, 24th, maybe. What day is today? 17th, right? 18th. We still have a couple days to do it, but they say draw the moon or take a picture of the moon and then label these 10 mare. And like, well, I can do that. And so I went through and was like, I took pictures last night, obviously, because of the eclipse. And then after I was done with that, I snagged myself some images and then went through and just labeled them. And so, it's one of those activities that I don't think I've ever done before, sit down and go, all right, well, this mare is here, this mare is here. And, getting a little bit familiar with that thing that we usually shake our fist at whenever we're trying to do imaging, or look through a telescope. This is our beloved supermoon, right? It was also known as the full harvest moon. So I always like to know why we get these names. Closest full moon to the autumnal equinox. And so if you didn't know, autumn's coming quick, a couple days from now, and kind of shocked me thinking about, oh, it's already coming close. And so the reason why this is called this peak of harvest, farmers can work into the night by the light of this moon. So that's how it got its name. So a little bit of learning for us. As far as things that are upcoming, Chuck was mentioning that he posted about astronomy at the Nature Fest, which is held at Bowie on the 21st. I know I just stole some things from his post. It's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so you're going to be doing solar because you're probably not going to see the other stars. 2,000 to 5,000 guests. And so Chuck could possibly use a few extra hands to wrangle. So if you're interested in volunteering, contact Chuck. He's on here. I'm sure you've seen him in the Google groups and postings. And so he has a Google group post on there. Chuck, is there anything else you want to add?
If you do want to come, you have to be have your car off the field by 8:30. So if you want to come in the morning to bring anything, you just have to come and set up and then have your car off the lot, off the field. They're saying they have about 80 vendors. So it's larger than it's been in the past. And I'm in location E2 and E3. If you come in and I guess they're going to pass out maps or whatever, come find me.
Not saying that we'll go for any other thing besides talking to you and chatting, but what other vendors do they typically have there?
Just lots of craft kind of things, and then some nature people sharing about animals and plants and things like that.
Cool. Good deal. And so again, if anybody's interested in going out to Fairview on Saturday, reach out to Chuck on the Google group and let him know. Coming up in 10 days, we have our next private star party scheduled out at Water Valley. Sunsets are starting to get a little off, or a little bit earlier. For some reason that didn't change, but here you see sunsets at 6:12 for the private star party. I forgot to change that. Then Bell's Bend, we're getting earlier again on October 12th. And so we're going to get closer to that time change at the end of October. So if you're interested in going out to Bell's Bend, I'm sure we'll have a post on it on the Google groups, letting people know when people are setting up and where that's going to be. If you haven't been to Bell's Bend, they love us out there. It's a pretty good place. Bring bug spray, even though we are getting towards fall. We will be in fall at that point. Still bring bug spray. Just trust me on that. Let's see. All right. And then finally, I wanted to throw on here on Friday, October 4th through the 6th, Pickett is hosting the Dark Sky Celebration. They do this every year and are really gracious to us and invite us out there. They give us a really good deal, $75 for the weekend. They put us up in their group bunkhouses. And so like there's 5 or 6 bunkhouses and you kind of sometimes have a whole bunkhouse to yourself. There's plumbing there, so not bad. They have a beautiful field that you can set up on. This year they're going to allow camping, so if you just wanted to hang out there with your equipment all night, you can. But $75 gets you access for the weekend. In the past, they've had food, but this year they're saying BYO, bring your own food. And so this is at Pickett Memorial State Park, and our contact is Michael Hodge. If you go to Pickett's website here, you can find the event that's on there, and there's more information regarding it. I know Theo's kind of leading the charge on some of that. Pickett's, like I said, they've been really good for us. I felt like it's, important to pat them on the back. Notice that they got the 2024 Park of the Year, right, for the state of Tennessee. So it shows kind of the good work that they're doing in terms of outreach and interacting with the public. And so they have a really special park up there. And the more we can promote it and get people out there, the more funds that they can get into their system so that they can keep doing awesome things. So I feel like it's a really worthy plug to show these kind of things. As far as what we do, well, it's 2.5 hours away. There's another couple dark sky sites that, are about the same distance, but Pickett's up here. It's literally on the western side of Big South Fork. In other words, if you cross the road, you're in Big South Fork Park. And so it's right next to it. It's got a dedicated astronomy field, which anybody can just pull up and set up for the night. And that one, I believe, has power, but the one that we typically use whenever we're at the astronomy event that they host doesn't have power. So if you do plan on going out, bring some juice or plan on going manual for that. This is their little flyer they put together. There's a lot of things to do out there. Rock climbing, or not rock climbing, but like kind of, they have a lot of cave features out there. There's a double arch bridge or twin arch bridge, I believe they call it, that you can go on a hike and see. They really promote their dark skies. So Pickett was the first park in the Southeast to be certified as a dark sky viewing location. And so they were the first one to get certified by the IDA, which, Theo, it isn't IDA anymore, is it?
You're muted, Tito.
Yep, you're muted, Theo.
It's a long way on two screens to go over to the unmute. Anyway, it's just Dark Sky Internet, and you can say Dark Sky International now.
Yeah. So they're no longer IDA now, it's DSA, I guess.
There were too many IDA hits. Like if you Googled IDA, there are a number of organizations that share that 3-letter moniker. So they just went with Dark Sky, despite a number of folks saying that people really Dark Sky, but that was what they've been. So they kept that. People were kind of arguing for a more starry sky angle that does, because people really, so a lot of people react pretty negatively, believe it or not, to the idea, just the dark. You hit them with the dark and they don't want to see dark, which of course it never is dark anywhere here. We actually had the power go out in our neighborhood the other night, and we went for a walk, and Nashville, it was cloudy. Nashville bounces so much light that you could see, it was like it was a full moon, except better because it's so scattered that there's no shadows. You had no trouble seeing.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, another plug for Pickett. This is a dark sky map. To give you reference, we're the spinning star down here. This is the observatory. The darker, the better. And we're in kind of a hot pink. My daughter would love that color. Down to the lower left of where we're at, you see that red pin, and that's Water Valley, right? So that's the darkest sky that we have access to with our club. And then if you were to make the trek over to Pickett, you see up here kind of on the Kentucky border in the blur, kind of shady blue. It's a lot better quality of sky. And so, I mean, down at Water Valley, it's good for what it is. But, the skies out at Pickett are amazing. So if you get a chance to go out there, highly recommend it. I haven't been out there in a while. I went out there last year. I don't remember if I processed any images of it. I can't go this year because of other things, but this is an image from out there, little Crab Nebula, little thing, Orion Nebula. So like things are just really like, it's so easy to see the sky out there. So I highly recommend making it out there. Continuing on, I like to throw these things up there, stuff coming up in the night sky. We're already here, right? Full moon. Neptune will be at opposition here shortly. And then we have a whole bunch of things in October, kind of capping, you got the Orion and meteor shower coming up, which again, everybody says is supposed to be spectacular, like they say every year. But that's going to come up on the 20th. And then we have a cool little dance going on the 23rd with the moon, Mars, and the twins. If you're looking for the Orionids, this radiant is just to the left, or I guess just the right of Orion's elbow. And so you look for meteors kind of shooting from that direction just after midnight. I believe the prime time is like 2 a.m. Where things are kind of dark and optimally aimed. So you can find those things. I put together that, little grouping of Mars, the moon, Castor, and Pollux. And if you use a big enough field, this down here is the beehive cluster. And so that would be a pretty cool image if you kind of like those wider field shots. And so that's at 2, 3-ish in the morning, just coming up. And so there's a lot of cool things. I always like plugging Stellarium because it's free and it does what you need to do. And so it helps really well with planning and things like that. This is the Stellarium web app. So if you don't like downloading software because you have an old laptop and it slows it down, you can just go to the website. And I logged in today for the first time in a while, and I think they added this tab called Calendar. And so I looked at it and they have a list of all cool things happening. So like, here's the full moon, partial lunar eclipse. And so basically it has a list of cool things going on. And I didn't know that was there. And so if you did, awesome. But I'm just sharing my newfound knowledge because I feel like a giddy little schoolboy going, oh, look at this. It's so awesome. So I'm sharing with you. If you're just like, I want to go see what's going on in the sky, they have things that are going on. So cool things to look at. All right. Next BSAS meeting is when that's today is sorry, October. I can't remember the date. That didn't change for some reason. Our speaker will be, she's known as the Astro Ranger. She's a solar system ambassador. She was a park ranger, national park, and she kind of just started getting into astronomy. And so I believe that she is either still in school or she's finished school and she's doing more astronomy related things. But she does a ton of outreach, basically promoting women in science and things like that. And so she'll be talking to us next
It's on the
month.
16th.
It's on the 16th?
Yeah.
I was close. A month and 2 days off. So October 16th, that'll be the day. And she'll be presenting over Zoom as well. So if you can't make it, definitely please jump in on Zoom and hopefully you'll get to catch that. And that is all I got tonight. Does anybody have any questions about the business of the club or anything I can help with?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Frank.
It may have been covered before I got here or late, but I was wondering if anybody got to see sunspots in the last few weeks.
I hadn't had a chance because I just saw clouds all the time over here.
Tell us about it. The days I went out, they weren't there, or the sun was clouded over.
Yeah, the lens I saw a lot of sunspots. Very
So still pretty
They were there.
yeah, look at through
A little bit louder, I'm deaf.
that. I was looking through a black filter, not an HL. But it's looking at sunspots. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he was looking at it through the white filter and he did see sunspots.
Okay.
Yeah.
good.
Steve, did you notice any when you were looking last weekend?
I mean, when I had the H alpha out, I mean, yeah, there were quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still pretty active right
Just
now.
to repeat,
Yeah, so Steve went out with the H alpha scope the other day, and he saw quite a few. So yeah, so the sun's still pretty active right now.
very well.
Yeah. My little dwarf does good solar, so maybe I'll put that out and then share it on the Google groups when next time I see the sun. So whenever that is. But cool. Well, good question. Yeah, Steve.
Okay, one quick thing that, I don't know if, they usually open the scope up. Of course, Billy's not here, so we're not doing any viewing. But it can be opened up if anybody wants to see it. I don't know if anybody here has never seen the scope or anybody new here. But if anybody wants to see the scope, let me know. We can open up and take a look at it.
Good deal. So scope, we can see it. We can't look through it. So if you just want to kind of take a look at it, take a picture, I'm sure they wouldn't mind. But that's available too. One of the perks of meeting at the observatory now. All right, good deal. Any other questions? Everybody good on Zoom?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, I'm that outreach, the Liberty Creek Elementary School, Chuck, are you going to that?
Yes, sir. Sure am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go too, and I'm borrowing an 8-inch Dob. Would it be okay for me to bring it to that event?
Absolutely.
Third graders, so it'd be fine.
I think Chuck actually has the other 8-inch Dob.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you were gonna.
Yeah,
So-
the more the merrier. You never know
Great.
how many kids are going to be there. I think they estimated around 500 were
wow.
expected.
What about,
Yes.
I was gonna bring some star charts. Do you guys usually bring, this will be like the first outreach school event I've been at. Do you guys usually bring star charts or anything like that? I can print some up for the October and bring some.
I brought some, not to give away, but I have brought books and other kinds of star charts.
Okay, all
I
right.
haven't really heard anything about situationally how we'll be organized. Are we going to? I assume we have to be outside, but I don't know if a lot of this is going to be inside or are they going to be transitioning in and out? Sometimes you just have to play it by ear when you get there.
Yeah.
So
well, what Chuck's talking about is we got a request for telescopes at where's the school at, Chuck?
What's it? Liberty Creek? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
It's in
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but they had a request for scopes, and so if you're interested in doing outreach, taking scopes for a school outing, there's a post on Google Groups, and you can find all the information there, and just reply to it, and kind of get a good chain going of people interested in doing that. Awesome, good deal. Well, thank you for that, Danny and Chuck.
Gallatin.
I'm not sure where it's at. I don't think it's Gallatin, is it?
It's not quite to Gallatin, but it's up from my house. It's still a fair piece, but it's up. I want to say I went out Long Hollow Pike for ways, and it's a little bit north of Station Camp, but it's not all the way to Gallatin.
yeah,
It's a brand new school.
Yeah, I think the address is Gallatin, but it's kind of like, it's not quite, it's definitely not anywhere near downtown Gallatin.
Right.
Yeah, but it's that area. Yeah, Long Hollow Pike and New Shackle Island, or I guess it's New Hope at that point. So
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, it says it's off Long Hollow Pike, and it's October 1st from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks from now. So yeah,
and
well, good deal. Thank you guys.
Were you going to get there at 4:30? Did you say, Chuck? Or
that would be my plan.
Me too. Yeah, I'll be there. So
okay, thanks, Dan.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you again, everybody, for taking time to come out tonight and hanging with the technical difficulties of the whole thing. Hopefully figure it out for next time. All right. Have a good night, everybody, and see you guys next week.
Have a good one.
Hey, bye, guys. We had about 8 online.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got up to, I think there was either 12 or 13 participants.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, that's the most I saw.
But Chuck says there was 12 or 13 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks for keeping an eye on that. It's hard for me to kind of split my eyeballs.
Well, let's see. That would include you, and it would include Dr. Jeff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that
They were out like this.
were they? Well, I think Billy tried to set up for us before he left.
Okay.
And so if we know where they go, we probably start putting them back.